Alright, welcome to session 2 of the Queen's News Update for the week of Thursday, August 22nd, 2019. We have a lot to get into, of course. I'm leading off this week's video because I'm very concerned about the Bay Terrace Shopping Center. It seems we've lost another business. When will Bay Terrace ever catch a break? I'm very concerned. For one reason, of course, it's because right up the street on Bell Boulevard is where my dentist is, and then you have Fort Taunton Park. And of course, I'm going to lead off with that. We're going to also talk about two other stories from Bayside. We're going to talk about what happened on the 7 yet again, because it seems the debris is just falling all over the place, and this calls for a summit to be done in the fall, which I'll get into that. So I think it needs to be discussed. We're also going to talk about some sad news about a missing restaurateur found dead. Crime stories. It seems Jamaica could never seem to catch a break. There's a lot more crime we're going to get into, but we do have some good news about our infrastructure. But this week we're not going to discuss any major traffic stories because I looked into it. And nothing just interested me this week in regards to that. So it's not like last week where I let off with the 3 intersections in Northeast Queens that was brought up by the 111 precinct last week. And of course, that was important to discuss. So total, we have 12 articles from the Queens Courier website. So that's qns.com. I highly recommend it if you want to look into these articles for yourself. So, that being all said, let's get straight into our first article. So, of course, I'm titling this video, The Decline of the Bay Terrace Shopping Center. The idea of a leading headline came from MTA Prodigy, where he does his news updates. So, that's why, of course, the thumbnail this week is in fact dedicated to the Bay Terrace Shopping Center, and I'll get into some personal thoughts about this after. But this is another place I'd never been to it. I knew where it was. It was in a different part of the shopping plaza by the movie theater, but it's sad. You know, it's just really sad seeing another business leave Bay Terrace. So, recently closed Italian restaurant in Bayside's Bay Terrace Mall listed on bankruptcy auction website. This was written by Jenna Bacall, so another article written by her, which I love her writing. I really do love her writing, so we'll just zoom in for mobile phone viewers. The 125 was the best I got, because last week people said the 125 worked out, so we'll stick to it as we read these articles in case you are watching on a mobile phone or on a tablet. So let's read the article. A now shuttered restaurant at Bayside's Bay Terrace Shopping Center is up for bankruptcy auction in September. Just 2 years after it opened at 210 35 26th Avenue, so literally around 26th Avenue, right by the movie theater, Allura Italian Kitchen and Bar has been listed on the Maltz Auctions website, which specializes in debt-related sales. The Allura Italian restaurant is slated to go to auction on September 17th, 2019. So I have a calendar in front of me, so if anybody wants to buy the property, save the date. Maybe somebody wants to save it, I don't know, but that would be a Tuesday. So hopefully maybe next month I'll have an update about this if QNS even does give an update. So according to the listing, it will be sold as is and free and clear of all monetary liens. The listing goes on to say that prospective bidders must present a certified check for $100,000 made payable to Alan B. Mendelhosen Esquire as a Chapter 7 trustee. So here were the owners' names right here. So restaurant owners Steve and George McKenzie opened the Bay Terrace Eatery in 2017. In August, locals reported a sign from management informing the public of the restaurant's closure. We appreciate all the patronage over the years. Patch reported that the restaurant owners had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy back in March. The same month, the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance seized Allure for nearly $300,000 in unpaid taxes dating back to 2017. So just like the pizzeria in Brooklyn that shut down and then was able to reopen and pay off the taxes. Wow, another business, huh? But this time, of course, it has a lot to do with Queens, of course. Allure reopened for a short time after March, but was subsequently listed for sale on businessbroker.net and bizbuy.sell. 3 feud distributors also sued the owners for $166,000 in unpaid charges, according to Patch. Right, I'm sure I got that correctly. Further court records showed that former restaurant employees sued the owners for failing to pay them overtime and half wages. The defendants in the case claimed that they were undercharged for their work back in 2017. So, that's just a quick summary right there. So, once again, you never catch a break for Bay Terrace. Bay Terrace is just doomed. And that's why I, of course, wanted to lead off with that, because I felt that, of course, necessary that we discuss what's going on with Bay Terrace, because a lifelong Northeast Queens resident like me, and there's also other people who watch my content and know how I passionately feel about this subject, which is just shocking. I just am literally at a loss, especially after earlier this year, we lost the Terrace Diner. We lost the Terrace Diner earlier this year. And a couple years ago, and I remember this very well, we had Barnes & Noble. Look what happened to that. And then when A&P folded, look what happened to Wallbounds. I love that location. It was a great location. And I'm just concerned that the whole property could be doomed in the future. And I don't know, eventually it could get flooded, because you're literally right on top of Fort Taunton. So if bankruptcy and taxes and location doesn't make a lot of sense, well, wait until you get flooded. I mean, the movie theater will be fine. That's the elevated level. But those ground level stores, and they're going to be doomed. And I'll be very worried if Outback closes, because that's the closest Outback Steakhouse to my, to my location in Fresh Meadows. Let's move on. Sticking in Bayside. DOT to install LED streetlights in Bayside Hills in continued effort to improve energy efficiency. So, this is Bell Boulevard. I definitely know where this is, because I've seen this sign numerous times over the years. So, this will be between 48th and 50th Avenue. As part of this continued effort to reduce the city's energy use, the New York City Department of Transportation is installing new energy-efficient lights in Bayside. Residents in this Bayside Hills section of the neighborhood noticed light bases going up on Bell Boulevard between 48th and 50th Avenue. According to a DOT spokesperson, the agency plans to remove 4 existing lampposts from the sidewalk and install 6 lampposts in the center median along the stretch. All of the new lampposts will be energy-efficient LEDs, which replace the current standard high-pressure sodium street lights. DOT maintains 262,000 lights on the streets, bridges, and underpass, 12,000 in the parks, and 26,000 on highways. DOT began testing the LED on streets and sidewalks in Central Parks and along the FDR Drive 10 years ago. So that's 2009, of course. The agency partnered with the United States Department of Energy and the Climate Group on the Lightsavers program, first established in Toronto back in 2008. The initiative's purpose is to reduce the city's greenhouse gas emissions while simultaneously improving energy efficiency. The Climate Group also plans to bring the Lightsaber programs to other cities including Toronto, London, Mumbai, Calcutta, Bangalore, Hong Kong, Beijing, and Shanghai. So this is interesting. This was actually something that was extended from the Bloomberg administration. So you can't give credit to de Blasio, folks. You're going to have to give credit to Mike Bloomberg. So let's see what this says. Back in 2013, in his last year in office, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg announced that the DOT would retrofit all 250,000 of the city streetlights with energy-efficient LEDs, which reportedly saves $6 million in energy and $8 million in maintenance a year. DOT's energy efficiency goals were outlined in Mayor Bloomberg's PLA NYC 2030 plan, which calls for a 30% reduction on the city's greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. So again, if you live along that stretch of Bayside, you're going to have to thank Mike Bloomberg for those new lights, because that's not de Blasio. If it dates back to 2013, that's definitely Mike Bloomberg. So let's continue reading. According to the agency, the current high-pressure sodium lights last 6 years compared to the most sustainable LEDs, which can last up to 20 years before needing replacement. The LED lighting also produces a crisper wider light under lower intensity, allowing for increased visibility at night. So, energy-efficient bulbs, and I know this very well, they are very brighter than your basic light bulb. I mean, don't get me wrong, still use basic light bulbs, but over time, they're going to have to look into how they're going to make the lights less brighter, because it can be, challenging to people who are new to it, I guess, because there's some people who are probably new to those fluorescent bulbs. But this is excellent. So it's going to be energy efficient, especially for a nice sign like this. And lastly, in Bayside, we're going to discuss gun-loving Bayside Man. Excuse me there for a second. Pays the price for hoarding huge arsenal of weapons and 50,000 ammo rounds in his home. So that is not a good sign. So this dates back to April 2018. Oh boy, that's not good. Bayside man who apparently went gaga for guns will be spending years in prison for illegally stockpiling scores of firearms and tens of thousands of bullets inside his home. Ronald Dardman, 61 years old, of 208th Street, pled guilty back in January of 2019 to first and second degree criminal possession of a weapon charge for 2 cases, one in which he ditched the gun after being involved in a traffic accident, and the other for its household arsenal. Acting Queens DA John Ryan said that Drabman is now serving concurrent prison sentences of 5 years and 3.5 years, respectively, for the charges. Acting Queens Supreme Court Justice Karen Gopi handed down the terms back on August 15th, so that was last Thursday. The defendant was caught twice attempting to hide weapons and live rounds of ammunition, Mr. Ryan said on August 19th in announcing the sentence. His actions posed a grave threat to the public. The sentence imposed by the court is more than warranted, and this should serve a reminder that illegal guns and ammo will not be tolerated here in the borough of Queens. Ooh, boy. This is definitely a middle-aged guy right here. My goodness, I'm literally annoyed that this guy did this in the first place. Oh, this dates back to 2 years, so this goes back to 2017. The first case involving Mr. Drabman happened at 4 p.m. back on September 29th of 2017. So let's look it up on my phone, or in fact, hang on, maybe I can do this. Let me put my LTE on. Hey Siri, when was September 29th, 2017?
It was Friday, September 29th, 2017.
Yep, that's the best thing about having an iPhone. Alright, so what happened in this particular case was he became involved in a motor vehicle crash on Hillside Avenue in Jamaica. Officers in the 103rd Precinct had to extricate him from the truck. I can't pronounce that word. While being administered medical care by first responders inside an ambulance, authorities said, Drabman removed the black firearm from his waistband and tried to give it to an EMT on the scene. The EMT refused to take the weapon, leading Drabman to exit the ambulance and return to his truck to hide the weapon. But officers later found the gun, a .357 revolver, along with 2 speed loaders and several rounds of ammunition from inside the truck. Now, I'll be using my computer for this one because I don't want to continually waste LTE. So it says April 19th, so let's go to that one. That was a Thursday. The NYPD Field Intelligence Division executed a court-authorized search of Drabman's home as part of an investigation. During the raid, they found his home arsenal in the basement, which contained 45 rifles. Let me get this straight here. Court-authorized, right. So, 45 rifles, 23 handguns, a zip gun, 2 .177 caliber pellet guns, and more than 50,000 rounds of ammunition. So look at that. Look at all these weapons. Look at all these weapons. This is something I've seen in Grand Theft Auto. My goodness. Officers also recovered the $15,805 in cash from Drabman's residence. Prosecutors said that Drabman does not have a valid firearms license, nor he is licensed to sell or manufacture guns or ammunition. Well, again, this is just a scary situation. And look at that. That's a sniper. And look at that. That has to be an MK40, AK-47, right? Because MRs have a different shape. MRs definitely have a different shape. Oh my goodness. Look at this. That's definitely an AK. So we'll move on because I think this is more important than a wacko carrying guns, but it had a lot to do with Bayside, so that's why we stay on that topic. But this is more concerning because this involves our quality of life. So once again, for I believe the 3rd or 4th time this year this happened? Maybe it's the 4th. I don't remember. But this is important. Steel debris once again has fallen off the 7 line in Woodside as MTA continues action after it happens. And look at this. Look at this. Somebody could have been seriously injured or killed by this. This is from Councilman Jimmy Fram-Breeden, by the way. So, along our precious purple line, things keep falling apart and off of the elevated 7 line in Woodside, with the latest incident of plunging debris coming in the form of a steel junk that dropped near the 52nd Street station this week. Oh, 52nd Street. Uh-oh. I know that station very well. That's the station I got off of when I went to my job training in Woodside, when I used to be a janitor. Oh no, that's not good. This fell between 51st and 52nd Street by Roosevelt Avenue in Woodside. So that's literally right by McDonald's, I think. So no, that's not where McDonald's is. McDonald's is by 61st. No, I don't remember. Now, this is something interesting here. MTA tells QNS they plan to extend netting that currently only exists around the 61st Street Woodside station to protect motorists and pedestrians from debris commonly known to fall by those living and working along Roosevelt Avenue. So, an MTA spokesman said, "The object that fell reflects no structural risk, but it is obviously a serious matter. The area was re-inspected today." Make sure this is correct. Yes, the 22nd. And it was ensured to make sure that there are no other loose pieces there. President Byford has the full attention, who was already expected to the netting process by ordering a system-wide course and priority analysis with the 4-location pilot is underway. A comprehensive inspection in March found no issues. The 4-location pilot started in July and is a system of netting currently protecting people around the Woodside station, which Van Brenen began calling for in February. The MTA contested that netting would prevent their workers from being able to reliably inspect the structure, but finally relented. Well, again, I'm not really going to read any more the quote here, but once again, I just don't get it. Again, this is a major stretch of Woodside. You know, this is literally where Queens Boulevard meets up. Queens Boulevard is further down once you go on Roosevelt Avenue. I just can't understand this. So, let's see if we can find anything about previous incidents. Oh, look at this. One vehicle back in February was pierced through the windshield by a wooden beam on the east side of the station, and another incident that took place back on March 6th in which a piece of rusted metal dropped onto the roof of another car. Since then, there have been several other incidents, including one in Long Island City, and another one that happened back in June at the same station. And they were crossing the street as the debris was falling near them. Which again, they need to expand the netting. That's just not a safe situation. Now to some very sad news. I was hoping that maybe a miracle would happen, but I guess not. So this has been reported by a lot of the New York City media outlets. But unfortunately, bad news is a missing chef from Elmhurst has been found dead inside a neighborhood hotel. That is not a good ending to the story. Detectives are investigating the death of a chef who went missing earlier this week and was found dead on Wednesday night inside an Elmhurst hotel. According to the NYPD at 8:30 p.m. back on Wednesday, August 21st, police responded to a 911 call regarding an unconscious man on the first floor of the Camway Lodge, located in a converted home on 77th Street between Roosevelt and 41st Avenue. Upon their arrival, officers from the 110 precinct identified by the NYPD on Thursday afternoon as 33-year-old Andrade Semproni, unconscious and unresponsive with no obvious signs of trauma. EMS responded to the location and declared Semproni, a chef at the famed Caprani Dolce restaurant in Manhattan's Grand Central Terminal, dead at the scene. Law enforcement said that Semproni was officially reported missing at noon on August 19th. However, reports on social media indicated that his friends and co-workers had last seen him back on the weekend of August 17th. One reader who reached out to the Queens Courier indicated that Semproni was last seen at 2 a.m. back on Sunday morning, August 18th, when he was leaving to see a friend. The medical examiner will determine the cause of death. Investigation's ongoing. So here are some pictures, and again, not a good situation. Can we get him in a bigger view? Because if we can't, then I'll just have to pull up the next article. Oh, here we go. Alright, so this is the hotel, which looks very suspicious. I mean, I don't even know how they let that happen. And of course, you have the crime scene, so we're not really going to go look into it. But just a sad story. Again, this chef was widely known. He was very popular at a restaurant at Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan, and especially, again, the media was giving this a lot of coverage on a lot of the channels. 7 was definitely covering it, and this was even mentioned on 1010 Wins, so this definitely got a lot of coverage, and I'm just sad that the unfortunate ending happened here in Queens, so just awful to hear. Now we're going to get into this story, which I know, unfortunately, very well. This was actually the lead story of the 6 o'clock Channel 7 news back on Tuesday night, so let's get into it, because again, Jamaica is just becoming the wasteland that it is, of course. Cops are looking for a creep who sexually assaulted a woman underneath a train overpass in Jamaica back on the morning of Sunday, August 18th. Authorities say that at 2:40 a.m., a 22-year-old woman was in the vicinity of Tuskegee Airman Way and 157th Street when an unknown man dragged her under a nearby Long Island Railroad train trestle. The suspect proceeded to strike the victim on the head with a hard object and sexually assaulted her. The suspect then fled the scene in an unknown direction. The victim was treated for a contusion to the back of the head at a nearby hospital. Police released video showing the suspect taken from nearby surveillance footage. The suspect is described as a heavy-set black man in his 40s and standing 5 feet 8 inches tall. He has a dark-colored cap or do-rag on his head and was last seen wearing a white shirt and dark-colored pants. So we're not going to get into the Crime Stoppers, but here's the number right here, 1-800-577-TIPS, that's 8477. So let's just mute the audio, so in case something, I don't want to get claimed for copyright. So here's the suspect, and I can definitely tell this is like a bandana. Like, there's no way that's a baseball cap. Yeah, the police got it wrong. That's definitely like a bandana or a do-rag or something. Yeah, and there he is just walking. It looked like he did nothing wrong. So let's see. Was he wearing blue jeans? Oh, okay, making sure, because I'm thinking that could be gang. Yeah, white shirt and dark colored pants. Uh-oh. That might be a gang member. Might be. Not saying it could be, but obviously we know what MS is like. They have the white shirt and the blue jeans, so that gets you suspicious. And I just hope that they catch this guy, because, again, Jamaica already being the cesspool that it is, but let's move on to another unfortunate story that happened in Jamaica. Mystery surrounds death of man who was found shot outside of his Jamaica apartment building. Police are investigating the death of a man who was found shot outside of his apartment building back on the evening of Tuesday, August 20th. At 8:08 p.m., police responded to a 911 call regarding a man shot outside of 107-19 Sutphin Boulevard. Upon their arrival, officers in the 103rd Precinct found 25-year-old Gregory Haskins lying on the pavement with a gunshot wound to the chest. EMS rushed Haskins to Jamaica Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. At this time, it is not clear what the motive was behind the shooting. No arrests have been made at this time. The investigation is ongoing. Well, just another example of Jamaica being Jamaica. Armed pair involved in 3 Queens robberies linked to 9 other jobs across the city. Cops are looking for a duo who believe are behind a series of 13 armed robbery attempts in Queens and beyond this month. Happened in my police precinct confines, the 107. Also happened at the 108th and 114th precinct. In an August 21st release, the New York Police Department, NYPD, released images of 1 or 2 suspects whom they identified as 31-year-old Brandon McDonald of Brooklyn. So I believe this is Brandon McDonald, right? Oof. Man, look at that. Look at that. That's a professional mugshot right there. You know, that is just professional right there. I gotta admit, this guy must be a pro. Police say the first Queens robbery occurred at 2 a.m. on August 2nd at the intersection of 38th Street and Broadway in Astoria. A 41-year-old female victim was approached by 2 unidentified males on the street who displayed a firearm and grabbed her property. Law enforcement sources said when the men were unsuccessful in their attempt, they fled in a Ford Mustang. The victim did not sustain any injuries as a result of this incident. The second Queens incident occurred the next day at 5:30 p.m. on August 3rd at 9th Street in Queens Plaza South in Long Island City. Authorities said the 2 identified males approached 27-year-old male victim on the street. The duo fingered a firearm demanded his property and removed jewelry with a total estimate value of $24,000. Oh no, this is not good. There's an incident that happened here in Fresh Meadows. Oh no. This happened right when I was in Maryland. Just very quickly, in that incident in Long Island City, nobody was reported injured. So let's get to the one in Fresh Meadows, because this one alarms me. 8:17 p.m. on August 15th in the area of 192nd Street and Aberdeen Road in Fresh Meadows. Uh-oh. I unfortunately happen to know where that area is, which I'll get to in just a second. We need to get into details. According to law enforcement sources, the suspect displayed a firearm to a 41-year-old male victim and demanded his property. He removed the watch with a total estimated value of $300, my bad. So very quickly, I just want to look up this area because I know where it is. I just have to look it up. Oh no! Oh no. I know where this area is. PS 178, it's right near there. First of all, that's not Fresh Meadows. That's considered Jamaica Estates, I think. Unless that's the neighborhood of Fresh Meadows, then maybe. But that's not a good situation. That's supposed to be a safe area. Because I'm looking it up on Google Maps, and that's residential. I know that area very well. Because 193rd Street is right there. Oh yeah, I definitely know this area. There's some nice houses in that area. I'm just surprised it could happen there. Again, I just don't understand how could this happen in my neck of the woods. And also, again, this guy is wanted in Brooklyn and Manhattan, so he could be anywhere right now. He could even be in the Bronx for all we know. I hope that this guy is not going to be a repeat of the Son of Sam back in 1977, because if that's the case, this is exactly what New York was like back in the 70s. We're living history all over again. Now we're going to get to another serious story, and that is somebody robbing the Macys in Flushing. Fast crook grabbed an estimated $42,000 in jewelry and ran out of the store. And here's a clear picture of him. Let's see if there's any info. Alright, so let's just quickly read this. Cops are looking for a thief who made a fast getaway after swiping thousands of dollars worth of jewelry from Macys this month. Authorities said that at 8:47 p.m. on August 13th, an unknown man entered Macys located at 136-50 Roosevelt Avenue and approached the jewelry counter. After asking the 25-year-old male employee to see some items, police noticed the employee handed over a diamond necklace valued at $32,000. When the employee was distracted getting the jewelry, the suspect took 2 diamond rings valued at $5,000 each off a display tray. With the items in hand, law enforcement sources said the suspect ran from the counter after slipping another bracelet on his wrist and fled the store in an unknown direction. The NYPD released the following video of the suspect entering the store and fleeing the stolen goods taken from nearby surveillance footage. So here's just a quick video. Make sure we mute it because there could be music. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, that's definitely the jewelry section. Oh boy. That is not a good sign. Okay, suspect is described as a black man with a thin build and was last seen wearing a black cap, black and white shirt, dark colored jeans, and black shoes. Information officially came from the 109 precinct. So this was sent back on August 21st, so yesterday. Very recent. And lastly, for our crime, we're going to go to Ridgewood, as a bike riding creep is wanted for groping women's buttocks on the streets of Ridgewood. Cops are looking for a bicyclist who can't keep his hands to himself and groped two women on the streets of Ridgewood earlier this month. Law enforcement sources said the first incident occurred at 5:50 p.m. on August 14th as a 20-year-old woman walked through the vicinity of Stockholm Street and Seneca Avenue. According to authorities, the bike-riding pervert rode up from behind, grabbed the woman's buttocks, and pedaled away from the scene westbound on Stockholm Street. The very next day at 11 p.m. on August 15th, the two-wheel groper attacked the 26-year-old woman as she walked from front of her home on Bleecker Street between Woodward and Onderdock Avenues. Underdock, excuse me. I was reading it too fast. As the first incident, police said the creep approached the victim from behind, grabbed her behind, and rode away, this time in an unknown direction. Both incidents were reported to the 104th Precinct. Neither woman was thankfully injured. So that's good. Nobody injured. August 21st, the NYPD released video footage of the suspect taken shortly after the first incident. Cops described him as a Hispanic man between 20 and 30 years of age who was last seen wearing dark clothing. So, we got a good, clear view of this guy. Let's take a look. Yep, there he is. He looks like he's minding his own business, but not to what the police are saying. Alright, so let's move on to some positive news about our infrastructure. So, last two articles we're going to be reading in this video. LaGuardia Airport Terminal B redevelopment project receives prestigious environmental award. Travelers using LaGuardia Airport have been tormented by several severe traffic delays with congestion backing onto the Grand Central Parkway in recent weeks. Wild weather has caused delays and cancellations, and the massive renovation project continues into its third year. There is light at the end of the tunnel for the nation's 21st busiest airport. The LaGuardia Airport Terminal B redevelopment project was awarded the Envision Platinum Award, recognizing the project for its industry-leading approach to sustainability and resilience. The award, for the highest level of recognition within the Institute for Sustainable Infrastructure Awards program. Projects are evaluated based on a robust set of criteria, including traditional factors such as reducing emissions, recycling materials, and using renewable energy sources, as well as more holistic indicators of social and economic sustainability, such as minimalizing construction impacts, providing employment opportunities for local residents, resilient design, and improving mobility and access. I'm just going to quickly look into this, but just quotes. We're not really going to get into it. So this is the new terminal. This is interesting. I gotta say. Lastly, in Rosedale, New York City Parks Department officially celebrates a $3.1 million renovation at Brookville Park. New York City has completed a $3.1 million at an oasis in southeast Queens. New York City Parks joined elected officials and community leaders Wednesday to cut the ribbon on 6 newly renovated tennis courts and a picnic area in Brookville Park along South Conduit Avenue in Rosedale. Parks Commissioner Mitchell Silver said, Brookville Park offers everything from sports fields to biking paths. The upgraded tennis courts and picnic areas will enhance the vital Rosedale green space and make Brookville Park an even more attractive place for the entire community to enjoy. The project, reconstructing the picnic areas with new barbecue grills, accessible picnic tables, paving, landscaping, and plantings to enhance the area. The tennis courts have been updated with new seal coating, sports lighting, and additional seating to accommodate more park visitors. Funding was provided by City Councilman Donovan Richards, who allowed nearly $3 million for the project, and Mayor de Blasio added $350,000 towards the Brookville Park renovation. Okay, so here's the tennis court. The tennis courts were last resurfaced in 2001, the same year they were named for in honor of Rosedale resident Derek Dilworth, who passed away in 1999. Dilworth was a volunteer at Brookville Park and an avid tennis player who lobbied for the maintenance of the Brookville courts, repaired fences, purchased storing equipment, and obtained fish for the park's pond. This is something interesting. Mr. Dilworth was the first African-American air traffic controller at JFK International Airport and has often invited local children tuned to his workplace for hours. So, this is an excellent ending. Rosedale, an underprivileged community here in Queens, finally getting the respect that it deserves. So, with that, I'm going to wrap up this week's edition of the Queens News Update. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, please take care.